we're gonna go through this. The first time we do expeditions, I'm going to basically try to break down things as simply as I can. Alright, guys? Okay. So I just use a token, right? Because that's kind of what they're for. Not that it matters. Begin trial. Okay. Just plug your YouTube video. Well, I mean, if anyone wants to like know the basics, they have the opportunity to watch that. But I don't know. I mean, he's asking because he wants to watch it here. Okay, guys. So the basics of Runeterra. I think it's actually kind of easier if I do it like during the actual game rather than the draft process. I want to actually think about what the draft process is. Okay, so if you're new to this game and you don't know what it is, I'm gonna finish my draft first. You can like see what happens during the draft. And we'll talk about like how the mechanics work when we join. We can vote. So you guys, wait. So how does that work? You guys have the ability to vote through the
Heaven perceive
through
me.
Twitch.
You look like something that's died.
I don't remember, dude. I don't remember that one. God, Timo Pog. So basically, how draft works in this game. I can talk about draft because I know you guys know draft. Drafting in this game uses bundles and synergies. So the first pick, it's a 40 card deck, and the first pick is something called a champion pick, apparently. Which means it's going to be a champion and there's going to be some synergies. So Shroom and Bloom is Teemo, the Teemo pack. I assume there's one pack per champion, but maybe there's like two. So it's Teemo, Assembly Bot, and Eager Apprentice. Now these two units kind of fucking blow. And then there's Garen, Vanguard Sergeant, and back-to-back. Vanguard Sergeant seems pretty good in this format, but draft format in this game is more synergistic than other games, so maybe a lot of the logic won't apply. Whereas Navori Conspirator and Greenglade Elder actually feel pretty good. So Karma's solid as well. I actually want to kind of like... I do actually kind of want to like try. Like, I know some of you guys are going to tell me to pick the Teemo one. With the two just like low... These aren't even related to Shrooms. What the hell is this? Shroom and Boom? So, like, these can't be predetermined packs. There's no way. So, Teemo probably has, like, a list of, like, 8 support cards, and it just rolls, like, 2 out of 8 or something like that. And all of them are probably like that, right? Now, following votes. Wait, okay, so where can I actually see the votes? Am I dumb? Oh, shit. Oh, the votes are right there. Oh, damn. Oh, that's cool. God damn it. Oh, I mean, I could just follow the votes. This is so bad. You guys are voting for like the worst one. Like, why? Why the hell? Like, what the fuck? Okay, like, okay. We're gonna do a democracy, right? The democracy is gonna be between two parties. Me and you guys, okay? So, you guys have your vote, and I have my vote. So, you guys voted for Shroom and Boom, and I'm voting for Demacian Steel, okay? So, it's a tie. I'm gonna pick Demacian Steel. Okay, I promise you, there will be many picks that you guys vote for that I will pick because you guys voted for. It's just, this won't be one of them. Demacian Steel is literally just a stat block. Yeah, but that's what you do in draft. Stat blocks. Like, that's how you win draft. You know what? I'll take Bounce House. I'll take Bounce House. It's a bit more interesting than Demacian Steel. You're right. Okay, so this is kind of like spell based. There's some recalls, grant allies, and hand buffs. So this is kind of like a good middle ground between what you guys, you know. We're fine. Now nobody's happy. Are you happy? Okay. So now we got the new pack. Let's vote, bitches. Okay, build your own legends by piling on the buffs. Suit up with Fiora, Laurent Chevalier, and Lawrence Duelist. There's a lot of cards in this base set. There's a lot of cards that I basically just like haven't even seen. Mostly like Demacian cards because I kind of never played Demacia. This is compromised. No one is happy. Okay, what do we have? Looks like a lot of votes for Spellbound, and you know what? I'm down with that one. I mean, Karma is technically kind of a spell-ish sort of deck, and I'm down to try to draft synergy. The interesting thing about this draft process is that, you know, it is able to draft for some kind of synergies. So now we get a synergy pick, okay? We've picked 2 champions, and I guess we'll pick the other 4 later, because we only have one-ofs, but now we have a synergy pick. So it's giving us Bounce House and Spellbound, which we already have. Bounce House is summon units with arrival effects and then recall them to do it again. Which sounds really horrible, but hey, I mean, Navorican Spirit is okay. And Spellbound is just playing more spells. I'm down to just pick more Spellbound. I mean, I like spell heavy decks, and we're kind of deep in spells. We've got Plaza Guardian, Heimerdinger, Chump Wump, etc. So we've got another Plaza Guardian, another Chump of Wumps. That's an easy Shroom of Boom. I mean, there's just not going to be much here. Like, cloning program's okay. You know, there's just not as much synergy here. Like, we can go like for a more full spell deck, and we just keep getting spellbound stuff. Here's Clump of Wumps, Illegal Contraption. Bounce House is just, I don't really understand why this is an archetype. Summon units with arrival effects, then recall them to do it again. That's just not really a thing, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not like Spellbound is really that good either. We could pick Shroom and Boom here, but I mean, I think I'd rather have Unlicensed Innovation than Eager Apprentice, to be honest. I don't know, actually. Okay, what do you guys think? This is one that I care little enough about to let you guys choose, okay? Look at this. Put your vote in. Express your democracy. You decide, as long as you don't waste your vote on this middle one, which I'm never gonna pick, okay? I will choose whatever you want. It's because it's clump vote both ways, so it's just between Eager Apprentice and Unlicensed Innovation. Okay, the vote is in. The democracy has spoken. We're going Spellbound. Look at that. See, power to the people. Okay, Shield Wall. Discipline. So we've got Mentor and Shadow Shift. That's actually kind of okay. We have to keep in mind something like our curve here as well. Enlightenment. Kinko Lifeblade. I mean, doesn't it just look like Discipline's just kind of... I mean, so immediately, like, you're thinking that heal anything 7 and draw 1. Jesus Christ. A casual draw 1 for 7. Never before have I seen this. Most games have like a draw 2 for 3. And sometimes you just have to draw 1 for 7. If you pick 3 regions, you're locked to those 3, I believe. Ah, yes, that's true. So as soon as I pick a 3rd region, so if we pick Demacia, we can't get another region. Which might not be a bad thing, by the way, because Demacia actually does have spell synergy. Isn't Demacia the 3rd region with spell synergy? So wouldn't it be better to lock myself to this region? I believe. Haven't I mostly been seeing Demacia cards already? With new Lux, yeah. Well, there's also some other cards. I think actually I would rather pick the Shield Wall here, because these two, like, they kind of look immediately like they have some synergies, but they kind of don't. Okay, Mage Seeker Conservator. Create in hand cost spell from a region other than Demacia. Scrap Dash Assembly and Mushroom Cloud. I mean, we do have a lot of these mushrooms. Deny and Stand United. I mean, Deny's pretty good. It loses a lot of value in draft, though. If you cast a spell this round, remove all text and keywords from an enemy follower. Yeah, I think Spellbound is the pick here. I mean, these others are a little weak. Scrap Dash Assembly is okay, but Cloud is not. And Deny is okay, but Stand United is not. And Deny is kind of a constructed staple, but a card like that loses a lot of value in something like draft. Get Excited and Rummage is interesting. We have a lot of Shrooms, so Rummage is top tier value. This is where Rummage plus Shrooms comes in. Because you really want to use them as just discard fodder. And even Get Excited is okay under that as well. Not as good. I think we can just snap that in. Mage Seeker and Succession. Summon a Dauntless Vanguard. So wait. Yeah, it's just a... It's a 3/3/3. But it's a spell. That seems pretty easy as well. Now here's another Plaza Guardian. So here's the thing with Plaza Guardians. They're really, really fucking slow. Unbelievably slow. Okay, so yeah, this is quite interesting. It's a draft process that's incentivizing synergy. So I talked a bit about this on my YouTube video. But the very...
I'm basically 1/8 gay.
Yo, Rampage 1526. Welcome to the 1/8 gay club, buddy. Just middle pack. 1 cost ally. Granted, +2/+2. That's pretty funny. Does that... Would that count with, like, Scrap Scuddler? Can you play this with just like Scrap Scuddler? Scrap Heap is actually a viable pick here. How many like 1 cost allies do I actually have? What about... I mean, Scrap Dash Assembly would work on this too, right? Because these units cost 1, even though the spell costs 2. It's still Scrap Scuddler. So in theory, if I play Professor Von Yip and then play Scrap Dash Assembly, it'll summon 2 3/3s, which is kind of spooky. In reality, I mean, I think it has to be Spellbound. I just want the Rummage and the other Mage Seeker Investigator. I already have 2 of those, though. Nah. Gotta go with that. Just FYI, my decks are still here, so you might be on your other account. Yeah. Okay. Scrap Dash.
I'm basically
Assembly,
1/8 gay.
Hey
Mage
Swim,
Seeker,
I recently
Investigator.
abandoned Underlords for Battlegrounds. How would you rate them against one another? And do you think Underlords have comeback potential? Love the stream.
How would I rate them? I haven't played enough Battlegrounds to say. Battlegrounds was surprisingly solid. I looked at it and I was like, ugh. And then I played it and I was like, ugh. You know, it was. I didn't play it enough to like have like a firm opinion about it, but it seemed like it had some potential. And maybe I'll play it more after this like beta period ends. Although maybe it just won't be cool by that point. Who knows? But yeah, I don't know. Underlords. I mean, I don't want to say it has 0 comeback potential, but I wouldn't say it's high. So this is between Shroom and Boom and Spellbound here. What's up, Breaky CPK? I see this as a problem. You were getting so many of the same cards. Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing about this draft system. It's synergy based, right? So the entire point of this is like it's supposed to. So a normal draft system in a normal card game will just kind of incentivize basically 0 synergy. It's very polarized. Like I said, I mentioned this on a YouTube video where it's like a draft game is just like pick the highest tier cards. You know, you do have to play around your curve and like that does involve your past picks. But for the most part, you're just picking the best things and jamming just the most like vanilla strategies possible, right? MTG drafts have a lot of synergy? Yes, exactly. MTG is able to be somewhat of an exception because you assemble at the end instead of like piece by piece, and that's pretty important. And also just like, you know, there's a lot more you can do with that kind of card design. But this is basically their solution, which I'm not sure exactly how I feel about. I think I like it. I'm inclined to think I like it. It's interesting that they're trying to do this synergy thing, but it can lead to some downsides because you do see a lot of the same things. Having deck building at the end is so great. Yeah, it really, really is. Okay, so let's see where the votes are at. Votes are favoring the middle one, Shroom and Boom over Spellbound. Although I think most of you guys have stopped voting because you've realized that I only listen to votes when I'm kind of like uncertain. We're uncertain here, guys. Spellbound or Shroom and Boom? Put them in. Feels like it's going to lead to people trying to build staple constructed deck, though. I think it could. That's kind of my worry, right? I don't think it will necessarily. It's hard to say at this point. It depends on like how exactly the probabilities work. I don't think you're going to be able to build like necessarily the same constructed, maybe similar archetypes though, for sure. Okay, votes are in for Shroom and Boom. All right. Cataclysm with Eager Apprentice and so what the hell is Cataclysm? For the card Sophisticate, looking for a unique experience and a giant cat-driven monstrosity. So wait, what that? So because Cataclysm is a singleton, what that would mean is the Cataclysm pack literally has to be an algorithm that tries not to give you things that you've already gotten, right? But we already have an Eager Apprentice. So what the hell is Cataclysm? Because you can only summon it if you've played a bunch of different units, like one-ofs. It's a one-of archetype. Death's Door, Funsmith, and Flash of Brilliance.
Basically 1/8
Utilize a variety of spells to
almost
kill your
full
enemy
gay.
units and control the board. Yeah, I mean, that kind of works with what I have. Funsmith isn't necessarily a good character. Flash of Brilliance is actually kind of okay in this mode. And we've got double Plaza Guardian, so Flash of Brilliance looks pretty good. Kinko Lifeblade is okay, and Eager Apprentice isn't the worst thing ever. But Death's Door does kind of like fit with what we have going on. And, you know, I mean, I've never actually tried Funsmith before. I just looked at that and I kind of like, ugh. I'm almost full gay. Dude, I don't want to be that guy, but you've subbed for 10 months apparently, buddy. I think you might be. Shroom and Boom, Thermo Beam, and Eager Apprentice. Now, Thermo Beam is something that, you know, has some opportunity. So we're between Spellbound and Shroom and Boom. I mean, Succession and Unlicensed Innovation are actually pretty alright. These are kind of your curve, like, proactive play spells. Then we've got Second Apprentice and Thermo Beam. Thermo Beam is a card that looks so solid in theory, and then it becomes really clunky to actually use. I'll let you guys pick this one. So this is between Spellbound and Shroom and Boom. What do you want to vote for? What abilities does Kinky Lifeblade have? Kinky Lifeblade is, oh god, what was it? It had Lifesteal and what was the second ability? It wasn't elusive, was it? Oh, it was elusive. Yeah, that's true. Okay, votes are in, and it looks like we have Spellbound taking the lead. It's kind of the boring pick. I would have gone for the middle one. Death's Door again, this time with Funsmith and Golden Crushbot. Golden Crushbot's actually just an okay stat line, honestly. It's kind of weird. Okay, so they've kind of tried to balance these. I think they have babied this a little bit, to be honest. Because, like, okay, so Death's Door, the whole point of a Death's Door pack is that it's a variety of spells to kill units and control the board. And they're putting, like, just mid-range synergyless units here, right? Like, Golden Crushbot is in Death's Door. Which kind of tells me that they want people to be able to just pick the same thing over and over again and end up with a playable deck. Which I don't think I really like. It would be cooler if, like, they were more narrow about their kind of, like, sort of color pie almost within these things. Unless, like, maybe that's just how the wild pick works. It's weird that the wild pick even, like, is named in these, because it's a wild pick. It's not a synergy pick. So why does it even have these, like, pack names? I don't know. So Retribution. So we have Chain Vest here. This is actually not bad. Given ally tough, it's kind of like a combat trick that will allow my guy to survive at 1. That's not great, but I mean, he'll be tough at 1. Create a random challenger, follow him in her hand. Yeah, I mean, honestly, Suit Up looks pretty alright here. Chain Vest. I mean, we're pretty deep on this spell synergy. We've got 2 Plaza Guardians and Heimerdinger. Is that actually all of our spell synergy? Uh-oh. And we haven't drafted our other 4 champions, right? Is it just gonna duplicate these into 2 3-ofs? So this one, I can't really take Death's Door here. The early curve I could actually see a reason for. We'll take Suit Up. I'm curious. Okay, so what happens at the end? So now we get the trade picks. So this is quite interesting. So another thing about this draft system does a lot of things very different. But here we have trade picks. So we have Funsmith for Get Excited. So we can take one of these 3, or is it as many of these 3 as we want? Death's Door is Piltover plus Shadow Isles, but since you're locked out of Shadow Isles, you're not seeing half the cards out of that pack, I think. Oh, maybe that was what was happening. So it tried to roll a Shadow Isle thing, and instead it just gave me something else. It still feels like it should default to something that's not just like a synergyless thing. This is interesting. Yeah, so let's see what we want to value here. So basically, we can get, like, we can exchange our Chain Fest for a Thermo Beam, scrap each assembly for Lancer thing, or Funsmith for Get Excited. I think I like Funsmith for Get Excited. I really hate Funsmith. Just feels pretty terrible. I mean, even with the amount of spells in our deck, it's just no good. And Get Excited, you know, you can discard a Shroom, and Shrooms are very literally useless anyway, so I think that's okay. Chain for Thermo Beam is also okay, but I think I can actually get more value out of Chain here. So I'll take this swap and see what happens. So yeah, it looks like, oh, so we can, interesting. So we can only pick one of the 3, I guess. And then it says next win, select a champion. So that's interesting. So you start the game with a deck of 2 champions, and then every time you win, you, like, we add more champions? That's very strange. Get Excited is a walking 1 for 2. I mean, okay, so Get Excited is not necessarily good, but we find ourselves in a spell deck with a lot of mushrooms, and mushrooms are kind of just like, obviously we're not going to really use them. They're kind of useless, so they're kind of free discard fodder that we already have. So it's more like a 1 for 1. Okay, I mean, I guess we'll just jump in here. You lose when you lose 2 in a row. Right, exactly. Okay. So we have Plaza Guardian. I like mulliganing this one pretty aggressively. So we're getting into our first game. I mentioned I was going to do the draft, and then I was going to try to actually, like, explain this a bit. So Plaza Guardian, it's kind of like a golem from Hearthstone. The game is kind of a combination of Hearthstone and Magic. So Plastic Guardian, we're going to go ahead and get rid of. It's just a little too slow. Flash of Brilliance is actually kind of okay, but it's not really great. It's not necessarily something you want to be playing on curve. And Chain Vest is also... yeah, it's good enough early, honestly. I think that's fine. We can keep Chain Vest. Scrap Dash Assembly is kind of our turn 2 play. It's a slow spell. So a slow spell, I would say this game is kind of closer... It's closer to Magic than Hearthstone, actually. Would be how I would initially describe it. We can go ahead and pass turn 1. So the few things that make this game unique. I'm going to explain this game, but I am going to assume you've played either Magic or Hearthstone. So we alternate attacking on mana turns. So he's attacking on even mana turns, and I'm attacking on odd ones, right? So when it's mana 3, I'll attack. When it's mana 5, I'll attack, etc. And yeah, we can just play Scrap Dash Assembly here. I think that's fine. He has a 3-2 with Fearsome. So Fearsome is a special tag, which means he can only be blocked by enemies with 3 or more attacks. So we won't be able to block him. But I'll play my Slow Spell here. A Slow Spell in this case is akin to a sorcery. It's a spell I can play non-reactively when I have a kind of like main action, right? So we've got our 2 1/1s. He's going to chunk us for 3. We can't block that because he has Fearsome, and it'll go to our turn where we're gonna switch over. He just passed instead of attacking? Wait, what? Okay, he had 3 free damage here. I mean, unless I'm missing something, he just gave it up. So one of the things that make this game unique, so it uses like a kind of streamlined version of the phase system from Magic. It's kind of it's got a lot of the depth of Magic with a lot without a lot of the complexity. Okay, so we have a couple different plays here. So we're on mana 3. Now you'll notice I have 1 extra mana here, and that's the mana reserve. Basically, spell mana gets reserved, and you can only use it for spells if you kind of float extra mana, which I like. It makes it a lot less about just a game about playing on curve, and you can do a lot more with it. So I might take like an aggressive get excited. I don't really like that, actually. I mean, we have Chump Wump plus Rummage as well. Yeah, we won't take like an aggressive get excited. I think we actually just play like this for a vanilla 3/3.
Magic has no place.
I mean, her ability is like fairly niche. I don't think it's going to be doing too much of anything. So win-loss thing can block ads. Oh yeah, you can just drag that wherever you want. Oh, that is neat. Oh, that's cool. Okay. Yeah, so this guy is just emoting. He's got a 2/2. When I'm summoning, create an Enraged Yeti in the top 2 cards of the deck. So it's a 1 mana 5/5. So in the next 3 turns, he's gonna shove a 1 mana 5/5 on us, and it's our turn to attack. So I've got this attack. This attack is pretty free. It's just a 3/3. In this game, there's no tapping to attack, and there's also no downtime to attack when you play a unit. There's no summoning sickness, which are 2 pretty crazy things, and some people are a little worried that it might lead to degeneracy. I mean, it's kind of Yu-Gi-Oh rules, right? Where you can just play a unit as soon as you attack. Hearthstone and Magic don't do that. And there's typically like, you know, it can lead to like more kind of like faster paced and snowbally stuff. But it's also combined with the Defender's Advantage system of Magic. So Defenders, the blockers get to choose like who actually fights who, basically. So we can play Chump Wump into Rummage here. I think that's a good turn 4 play. Chump Wump is like a 4/4/4 that creates 2 Mushroom Clouds in hand. Now, these we're not even going to use. They're pretty useless. We're going to go ahead and probably mulligan them with Rummage, basically, which is just like a draw 2, discard 2. And the interesting thing you'll notice is I can actually cast Rummage this turn, because we still have 1 spell mana left over. How to get initiative here? So we just alternate passing initiative back and forth for 2 turns. Unlike how Artifact works, you can't like pass first for initiative, but whoever's on the offense is going to have like the first action of that turn. Although when you play a burst level spell, it doesn't consume an action, so you can still like, if you play a burst thing while you're on like a main action, you'll still have that main action afterwards, because it doesn't take any time, basically. So we have Rummage. I mean, we can play it here. There's not really enough of a reason to, I think. Like, I would rather wait, get our Heimerdinger developed. Because this spell mana, this reserve mana, does not go away. And that's what's really nice about it. It allows you to kind of play a bit more flexible, plan out your strategy a bit more. So we can play Heimerdinger. He will have some opportunity to attack, but we'll create like a fleeting turret with the Rummage. I think that's going to end up being fine. Let's go ahead and play Heimerdinger here. So what we can do is we can chill. we actually don't want to play Rummage yet, because we have Chain Vest to protect our Heimerdinger if he casts something. Let's say he casts a spell that costs 3, or that deals 3 damage, right? I can Chain Vest to protect it, because Chain Vest is burst speed spell. This is effectively an instant, like magic. Actually, an instant would be like a fast spell, and burst speed. What's the word in magic for what burst speed would be? It's not like a super common keyword. So he plays Elise, which is a fairly aggro thing. Split second? Yeah, right. Split second. Yeah, exactly. So he uses his mana. This makes me pretty confident he doesn't have a way to kill my Heimerdinger. And because of that, what we can do is just go ahead and Rummage here, right? So it is kind of the same rules as Artifact, where, in theory, let's say he played something that cost 1 mana, right? Instead of Elise. Let's say he just, like, had a lot of mana left over. I might be kind of scared of that. And I might want to keep my mana up to protect my Heimerdinger if he were to play something, right? I might not want to Rummage. So what I could do is the pass you see in Artifact, right? I could make a pass there, see what he plays first, the reaction pass, right? See what he plays, and then, you know, try to keep my Chain Vest option open, right? I guess we can... There's not really any reason to attack here. Not off these numbers. We can just chill. And this is kind of like the Magic mentality. Basically, the card game is like... It's a mix of a lot of different card games. It's mostly a mix of Magic and Hearthstone with a bit of Artifacts splashed in. And even like a fairly Yu-Gi-Oh-y feeling. It's a pretty interesting game, to say the least. It balances a lot of different things together. Which actually, I think it ends up working pretty well, but we'll see. Okay, so we drew his Yeti. That's the big one. So now here's the interesting thing here. Here's the interesting thing. He has the attack token, which means whenever he has a main action, and we alternate taking turns, as you noticed. So whenever he has a main action, he can choose to attack. So it's our action right now. As soon as we play something, he has the opportunity to attack, right? So this illegal contraption is a 5/5, just like the unit he played. Of course, it costs a lot more. The Void Conspirator forces a recall. Unlicensed Innovation with our Heimerdinger on board, I think, is just going to be the play. It means we have no mana left over for Get Excited or Chain Vest, though, which is a little dicey. I don't think I need Chain Vest. I think I will just play the Innovation. So the problem here with Innovation is that it's a slow speed spell. So it's going to cost my action, unless it was like burst speed. It will cost my action, and then the problem is... He'll get the action next, while Heimerdinger's thing will go to my hand, right? MK6 Stormlobber. Heimerdinger, whenever I cast a spell, I get a turret proportionate to the cost of the spell. So this is a powerful turret. And he has the opportunity to attack and block him out of playing something. So it looks like... Oh yeah, I have a full board anyway. I can't even play this. I forgot the unit limit was 6. Yeah, so I literally can't play this here. But he's going to attack, and that's going to let me, like, chump out a blocker, and that means I'll be able to make room for Stormlobber. Okay, so yeah, we can just go ahead and sacrifice some things for free. This is just like a 1/1 vanilla. It's not really doing anything. Killing the Elise is pretty value, and it's fearsome, but I can just, like, block that pretty easily. And we have to look at his 3 mana and think to ourselves, okay, he's got 3 mana left over. What kind of, like, combat tricks could he use? You know, this is a lot of, like, the Magic mentality. We'll just do an efficient block for now. We're not going to do anything, like, crazy. But I'll keep my Heimerdinger on high health. Like, if he has a combat trick, you know, maybe he can make his 3/3 trade for the 4/4. And I could block this, and I could try to protect 2 health that way for free, but there's just not enough reason to. I'll take the 2. I think that's fine. Heimerdinger is kind of important to keep alive. And now that we sacrificed the unit, we have enough room to play this little thing. You can't double block in this game? No, there's no double blocking like there is in Magic. Basically, it's weird. The game combines... It takes the defender's advantage of Magic and puts in some kind of like attacker's advantage elements of no double blocking plus, like, you know, being able to attack the turn you play effectively. And it has basically a balance. What I would consider to be a balance between, like, Magic's and Hearthstone systems, which are very polarizing. Like, Magic is really heavy on defender's advantage, and Hearthstone is really heavy on attacker's advantage. Okay, so we have a full board. We're going to need to clear up some unit space if we want to play anything at all. we have the opportunity for Get Excited. I think what we can do here is we have initiative, so we can go ahead and declare an attack. So how this game works, check this out. So we have the attack token here, which means we get to go first on this turn. It's turn 7, we're attacking odds, right? So if we play a card, he gets to also play a card. If we attack first action of our turn, he doesn't get to play anything, right? And that's important to understand with how attacking works. If we develop an extra attacker, well, sure, we get an extra attacker, but he gets to develop an extra blocker, right? So sometimes, even if you have an attacker you want to develop, what you want to do is you want to attack right away so that they don't get that action, right? And it's a very similar mechanic to Artifact in that way. Because there's a lot of like things in Artifact where like you want to just basically force an action so that your opponent doesn't get that action. So he's going to take this 5-5 into my 5-3. Interesting block. 2-2 into 6-1. You know, that's a lot more standard, and 0-4 here. So presumably he has some kind of trick for that 5-5 into 5-3. I'm kind of fine with that. I think I'll just go ahead and do Get Excited here. That's fine. So we can go ahead and just discard some trash. Navori Conspirator I don't think we're really going to use, and just blow up this 2-2. So the interesting thing here is normally by magic rules, we kill a blocker. Once the blocker is designated, this attack won't go through, right? That's how it works. We don't deal 6 damage to the face. But we have Overwhelm, which is effectively trample. Excess damage I deal to my blocker is dealt to the enemy nexus. So how it'll work is when this speed spell that, you know, it's like a trap card, right? It's an instant spell, it's whatever you want to call it. When it gets resolved and, you know, the combat goes through, it'll sort of treat his empty square as a 0-0 blocker, right? Like normally this attack would not go through, but because of Overwhelm, we have the ability to deal 6 damage for free to his face, right? And this is the point in the game where we want to be drawing like our big Plaza Guardians and stuff. And we have Vengeance, kill a unit. So Vengeance, fast speed, kill a unit. We can see what it's targeting. He's putting it on the stack. This game has like just this is the visualization of the stack. So he's just killing the 6-1. And there's nothing I can do to like protect that. There's really no opportunity to use Chain Vest for value anywhere. So we're just going to go ahead and let that resolve. Heimerdinger is going to go ahead and give me the spell based on the mana cost that I expended. And we freed up 2 unit slots here, which is pretty nice. We've got 4 mana left over, and we can go ahead and use it. So if we wanted to, obviously we were kind of out of room, so it's easy. It's an easy decision to attack first when you're out of room to play units. But like, imagine if we had 5 units instead of 6. We'd have plays, right? We'd have like, ooh, do I want to play the Laurent Bladekeeper, buff something before I attack? But it'll let him develop a unit, so we have to think like what he could have in his hands, what, like, you know, whether it's worth it to develop this before attacking. That's an interesting decision that, you know, is fairly unique to Runeterra, like the idea of like when you want to time your attack. It's pretty cool. Burst, you retain priority and play another card after. Yes, and that's it's kind of even more instant than fast. Okay, so it's giving us another champion. We have. So how does this work? Do we only have a 30 card deck right now? So we only have a 30 card deck, right? But we keep picking until we go like over 40? Because normally this game is run on a 40 card deck. And here's another Spellbound one with Heimerdinger and Vanguard Sergeant. I think that's pretty easy. And Vanguard Sergeant is something that, you know, obviously should be in the deck. It's just, you know, it's not, whatever. There's another Spellbound here with Lux instead of Heimerdinger. I mean, to be honest, like, this one isn't even necessarily worse. It's just Heimerdinger's a lot better than Lux. I'm gonna go ahead and defer to you guys here. I'm sure you're gonna pick the Lux and screw me over. Yeah, that's fine. Honestly, I'm fine with that. I'll play with a handicap. I don't expect this to be, you know, this isn't gonna be like the value pack. It's not actually that bad though. It's like they both have Vanguard Sergeants. That's a really good card here. Sure. Flash of Brilliance is kind of fun. We already have 2 of them. Jesus. We didn't even draw. Oh, yeah, we mulliganed 1. Lux is buffed. I know Lux is buffed, guys. I understand that it's a 0 mana Final Spark. It's still a lot worse than Heimerdinger here. We'll try it, though. You guys are voting for it. I think it'll be more fun to mix it up with different champions. Let's go for it, okay? So we're just going to keep running these draft games. I'm going to run, like, one more game, because he conceded it, and it didn't really count.